Welcome to Earth Deeds. If you're watching this, you're probably well aware of global warming and are wanting to be a part of the solution. So I'll cut to the chase and explain how Earth Deeds works. Think of events and activities that you're involved with. We'll call these teams. Now think of sustainability projects that you care about and want to support. Using Earth Deeds online tools, teams can measure and reduce the carbon emissions of these events and activities, team fund contributions based on these impacts, transfer these funds to sustainability projects of their choice, and receive a carbon-conscious eco-label for their efforts. It's pretty cool. For example, a sustainable living class measured its carbon footprint and supported a student group that promotes green events on their own campus. 50 youth activists measured their impacts of attending a conference and funded two of their own projects, a youth nature camp in Thailand and edible landscaping for schools in Zimbabwe. And a study abroad organization accounted for all their program's emissions and contributed to projects in 10 of their host communities. Earth Deeds makes all this simple. Team members access a custom calculator to measure and record their travel footprint and contribute towards a meaningful project. And if you don't already have one in mind, you can search over 100,000 projects on our site. Earth Deeds retains a small transaction fee that we use to further develop tools and resources like carbon reduction calculators, videos on climate change and other topics, social media promotion tools, and more. Now, you may be thinking this sounds a bit like carbon offsetting, where you can calculate emissions from an activity, pay one of these companies to invest in projects to prevent a certain amount of carbon pollution from entering the atmosphere, and then claim that you've mitigated or neutralized these emissions. To their credit, offsetters have helped people understand their carbon footprints and transferred funds to a lot of good projects. And Earth Deeds is similar. It's vital that we act now to measure our carbon emissions, reduce them wherever possible, and price them to begin accounting for these impacts. But there are a number of challenges with offsetting. For example, offsetting companies have to pay carbon credit verifiers and other middlemen, which means less money gets to the actual projects. Some projects might happen even without offset funding, perhaps are even required to happen, which means they might not be offsetting anything. Also, pricing carbon based on what project holders will sell the mitigation credits of their projects for is confusing and volatile and not connected to the real-life impacts of these emissions. And being carbon neutral has often been compared to 16th century indulgences where sinners could buy a clean conscience while delaying meaningful action. Earth Deeds offers a new solution called onsetting. By releasing the concepts of carbon offsetting and neutrality, we can get much more funding to the projects, and to large or small projects that you know and trust, or even create, that are building local resiliency and abundance. Bike sharing programs, community gardens, farmers markets, and so on. And rather than price carbon based on market forces, we price carbon based on the best scientific evidence of global warming's actual costs of expensive adaptation to sea level rise, disaster relief, damage to agriculture and fisheries, and so on. We rely on the social cost of carbon, which was developed by the EPA, DOE, and 10 other government agencies, and currently prices carbon at $37 a metric ton. And rather than guilty indulgences, Earth Deeds says, let's be grateful for fossil fuels. And let's recognize there's an environmental cost in burning them. And now let's pay it forward and make a real difference in communities that matter to us and to all future generations. Yes, we need to reduce carbon pollution as quickly and as fully as possible. But we also have to do so much more. We need to create resilient and local food systems. We need to preserve biodiversity and wildness. We need to address the unequal burdens created by global warming. And we need to deconstruct and replace the political and economic structures, and even the mental models and worldviews that led to these crises in the first place. Onsetting supports all this and more. Global warming is unfolding in our lifetimes. We need to work together and can't afford to wait for governments or corporations to fix things. Earth Deeds' big solution is empowering you and the millions of people and projects working now to create sustainable communities and a healthy planet for our children and all life. Thank you for being a part of the growing community of people onsetting solutions with Earth Deeds and being the change we wish to see in the world. Please follow us on social media and contact us if you have any questions. Thank you.